You're welcome to True Love is Possible, where we learn, we unlearn, and we relearn. Why do we keep on having issues in relationships? Why do we experience so much heartbreaks? Why marital delay in the Christendom? I believe these are questions that most young people are struggling with. But I tell you one thing, God is very interested in our relationships, because marriage is God's idea. So He is so much interested in our relationships. Let's go to the book of Matthew chapter 22 verse 37 to 39, where the Pharisees, the Sadducees were asking questions that what is the greatest among the law of Moses? And Jesus replied to them and said, you must love the Lord with the whole of your heart, with your soul, and with the whole of your mind. And He says this is the greatest of all. But the second is the same as this: love your neighbor as you love yourself. Before God will send that right person in your life, God will first want to do some things in your life. According to the book of Genesis, we saw that God gave Adam a place. He gave him a garden. Alright? He gave him purpose. He gave him identity. And He gave him prerequisite. Before God should do all these things in a man, before God will make your life straight and have purpose and have a clear image of who you are, God will first want you to love Him with the whole of your heart, which is your body, with the whole of your soul, and with the whole of your mind, which is your spirit. God wants the entirety of our lives to first be dedicated to Him. Alright, and this is the greatest of all. This applies to relationship, it applies to life in general. And if we can achieve loving God with the whole of our body, our soul, and our spirit, then the next, which is the same as this, that says love your neighbor as you love yourself. I put it this way: learn to love your neighbor from the way you see yourself love yourself. A lot of times we want to jump into relationships to try to find love. But actually the idea that Jesus is telling us here, that the reason why we go into relationship is actually to give love. Alright? So our biggest challenge when it comes to relationship, dating, and marriage is our orientation. You know, growing up, almost nobody told us that we need to love God before we can even be with our neighbors and love our neighbors. In fact, growing up as a child, most of our parents tried to, corner us in our houses. They never wanted us to even associate with our neighbors. So even the concept of loving our neighbors is not there. And for a few parents that actually were able to guide their children to interacting, to loving their neighbors, they didn't actually let them know that love must first start with loving God with the whole of your heart, your soul, and your mind. So this singular understanding, orientation, is what most of us bring into relationship. We feel that you don't need God to be in a relationship with someone. All you need to do is to just love yourself. So we leave the first law that says love the Lord your God with the whole of your heart, with your soul, and with your mind. We jump to the next one, which says love your neighbor as you love yourself. And this is one of the reasons, in fact the fundamental reason why we actually get relationship wrong. We try to take God out of the arithmetic. We try to take God out of the circle. We were given this idea that all you need to do is just to have goosebumps for somebody. It's just to have some chilly feelings of emotions for someone, and that is what it takes for you to build love and relationship. And this was what they handed over to us, and we try to run this race of relationship, love and marriage with this idea that we don't really need God. But come to think of it, who is the originator of this place we want to find ourselves, marriage? It is God. And He's saying that for you to love any other person well, and even to love yourself well, you need to first love God with your everything. And this is the biggest challenge we are having. We have this orientation that if I'm feeling something for this person, that is all I need to build a healthy relationship. That if the spark is there, if the excitement, the emotional excitement is there, we can build something beautiful. And when we engage, we get ourselves into this, we find out that it's bigger than what we feel. That is the challenge. I'm telling you, for us to get this relationship and marriage right, God must be the first. And He must be the first in our body, spirit, and in our soul. That means your body must be in line with God's instructions. Your soul must be consumed with God. Your spirit must over time be sucked with the Spirit of the Lord. Without this, I'm telling you, relationship with others will be a struggle. In fact, even intrapersonal relationship will be a struggle, because it is God that gives you a clear picture of who you are. It is a relationship with God that places you financially, that places you emotionally, that gives you the idea of contentment. All right, so we need God. God must be the first for us to get relationship right. And I tell you, except God gets our attention fully, probably He will not give us that place, the garden. He will never give us that image. He will never give us that purpose while we are here on earth. I believe you know that you're not just here to pay bills. You're not just here to chase money and do all those things. There is a purpose, and it is only when we love God that He reveals that purpose to us, and He will not give us instructions. A lot of us will say that I don't hear God. God doesn't speak to me. How do you expect Him to speak to you? How do I expect Him to speak to me when my body, my soul, and my spirit is not dedicated to Him? And we try to guess our way. We try to do like a blind person in relationship. You touch this one, it did not work. You touch that one, and that is what we are doing. God is saying that if we can love Him first, every other love will go fine. So I want to encourage you, and I want to challenge you and challenge myself. Let's go back to the drawing board. Let's go back and get it right. Else, even the marriage we want to get into, we'll struggle in it. Because whatever you do without God, it is not going to succeed. You might do it, but it will not be fulfilling. A lot of married couples are not fulfilled. They are not happy in their homes because they started without God. And even now, God is not the first. And they don't have a genuine love for God. That means they will bypass God and do things. I pray that the Lord is going to help us, that we build a genuine love with Him by giving our lives, surrendering our lives fully to God, and He will take charge and be our God. Thank you so much.